What's going on, guys? Yours truly, Double D with the Silent T. I know it's been some time since you've seen me. I've been away. I didn't want to provide entertainment on a weekly basis like I've been doing, because obviously there are more important matters to attend to, such as the death of George Floyd. Rest in paradise, and rest in paradise to all that have perished at the hands of injustice. Feels like everybody in the world it has had an impact on, including myself, which is why I want to help facilitate change. That's what this next video is about that you are going to see. I partnered with the Walpole Peace and Justice group because I grew up in a small town called Walpole, Massachusetts. I played for a team called the Walpole Rebels, which was a football team. You're going to hear in this video why I believe the name needs to change. But before we get into the video, please click the link in the description. It's going to show you how you can speak to the Walpole School Committee and voice your opinion and let them know it's time to change that Walpole Rebels name. I'll be speaking to them on Tuesday as well on Zoom alongside the Walpole Peace and Justice group, and hopefully on Thursday we will know if the name is going to change. Without further ado, let's get straight to the video. I appreciate the love and support. Yeah.
For our main speaker, I'm proud to introduce Darley Desamot. Darley was born and raised in Walpole. He graduated from Walpole High in 2010 and was also a member of the 2008 undefeated Super Bowl championship football team and 2007 Bay State championship teams. We are truly in the presence of local football greatness here, guys. Thank you so much for lending your voice to us tonight, Darley.
Testing. Can you hear me? Okay. First and foremost, I just want to bring everybody's attention right here, if you could, to the tinyurl.com/Walpole School Committee. That is where you need to go to voice your opinion and let them know that it's time for the rebel name to change. I also want to give a shout out to the Walpole Peace and Justice group, the Walpole Justice Coalition, for allowing me to come here and speak to all of you today. Thank you so much. I also want to give thanks to Chris Cameron, who reached out to me on Facebook because he was determined to do something and help out in any way, shape, or form. And I said, Chris, it'd be one way to make an impact if you came out here today, so thank you, Chris. I also want to thank Chris because he gave a very amazing history lesson that I will not need to give. So thank you for that. That's amazing. So with that, guys, I won't be giving you a history lesson. I will be telling you a story. I'm going to tell you a story about myself, okay? As it was stated, I have been born and raised in Walpole with my uncles, my two uncles right there, Josh and Eugene. And my sister. I didn't forget about you, Kim. There you go. Now, I'm somebody who was in elementary school, of course, in Boyden School, right? Boyden Elementary School was an experience, not to say the least. It was one hell of an experience. The reason why I say that is because I remember the first day being in Boyden, I knew that I was different. And the reason why I say that is because I was the only black person in that school. And I knew that things were going to be very different. Now, the only reason why I bring that up is I remember in Boyden Elementary School, I've never said this, but I was involved in a play. And it's been so long, I don't remember what the play was called. But Boyden did very good by me because they knew that I was different, but they wanted to involve me in the play in a big role. And I think I remember it like it was yesterday. For some reason, I remember this. And the role that I played was that I had the ability to go around the entire auditorium and just make people laugh. And immediately I remember my school students and all my school peers, they immediately gravitated towards me after that. And I was always taken in with love and respected. I always appreciated that. In Bird Middle School was very good because that was the opportunity to actually be with people of color. That was the first time that I would, be with people of color, and I appreciated that because they helped me realize that, yes, it was okay to be different. It was okay to understand that you are different and to realize that that's not going to dictate how you grow up. And I was always appreciated of the people of color within Bird Middle. When I got to high school, Walpole High School, we can go into the Rebel story now. The first day I was in Walpole High, it was overwhelming to say the least, of course, as you guys all know. If you remember your high school experience, it was overwhelming for sure. I remember after Walpole High, where you would have the meeting if you wanted to join the football team. Now, here's the funny part about this. I remember, I'm not sure if Chris remembers this, but I remember like it was yesterday. I was so curious on how to be a part of football. I fell in love with football. And I think I fell in love with football, I believe, after the Patriots, they ended up winning a Super Bowl. And that to me made me, because I used to love the NBA. In my mind, I was like, I'm gonna be an NBA player. And then that slowly went away when I saw them win the Super Bowl and I saw everybody gravitate to their team winning, and it was just a tremendous experience. And I was like, you know what, when I get into high school, I'm gonna be a football player. And I didn't have any information on how to do that. So I remember asking questions, and I was like, do you guys know what the football team will be? And they all stated, oh, they'll be in the auditorium. They're gonna be talking about the upcoming season, gut camp. Ooh, gut camp. Oh my gosh. Gut camp was brutal. But they were gonna be talking about gut camp. And I remember walking in the auditorium. Everybody was sitting down already. I swear this would only happen to me. Everybody's sitting down already. And I just opened the door and I'm greeted by the head coach, and he's looking at me and he's like, and I'm like, hi, I was wondering if I could be a part of the Walpole football team. And he laughed. A lot of people just ended up dying laughing because they had already been registered for the football team. So I was the only one that hadn't been registered. So I just walked up and I was like, here I am. How do I start? Where's my helmet? And ever since that day, Chris, Cameron, his peers, they took me in immediately. And I always appreciated that because who knows how my experience would have been. But that day, my experience changed. And I just want to say, Chris, I appreciate your group. I appreciate the group after you for taking me in and treating me like a brother. The Walpole Rebels. I'm going to tell you why the name needs to change. Because Chris brought it up perfectly. Barry Greener, I read the same article because he was interviewed as well. Barry Greener said perception is reality. You see, when I was in Walpole High, a part of the Rebels, I was in a bubble. I was in a bubble. When you're inside that bubble, when you're inside the structure of being a part of a football team, all you know is brotherhood. All you know is going to war with your brothers and winning games and looking ahead and hopefully going to the Super Bowl, which we did, which was amazing. The only time that I knew something was wrong, it wasn't with my teammates, but it was after games. Kids would come up to you after the game and you would have to shake their hands, win or lose, which they always did. But I remember people of color, black kids, they would come up to me and they would say, well, why are you a part of this team? Like mid-handshake, why are you a part of this team? And I would always be confused why that happened. And the reason why I bring that up is because when you're inside the bubble, of being in the Walpole Rebels, obviously you don't know what's going on outside of the world. You're just focused on school, you're focused on sports. Okay, that's it. That's your world. And I remember asking questions like, why do they act like? Why are they asking me why am I a part of this team? And people would just tell me ignore it, because we would win in a pretty decisive way when we were our team back in the day. So I just always thought, hey, maybe it's because they got their butts kicked. But that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. And I learned that later on, when I had left the bubble of being a Walpole Rebel. And when you're in college and when you're going out to events and you're meeting people of color, you're meeting other black kids outside of Walpole, you're learning a lot more. I realized there was a big problem. And the Walpole Rebels, I just want to also say this, never in my time being a Walpole Rebel did I experience racism. But again, I'm going to say this, perception is reality. Just because my experience was not or had any racism involved does not mean that the kids of the younger generation after me won't have any experience of racism. And I had to take into effect that no matter what, I wanted to help create change. Rachel and Lindsay, who I believe, guys, forgive me if I get your class wrong. I believe they graduated in 2018, hopefully. If it had not been for their petition to change the rebel name, I would not be here. I would not be here. You see, when I say perception is reality, we have to understand this. It's very similar to when you hear people say Black Lives Matter, right? Because sometimes you'll hear people combat that with saying, well, all lives matter. You are absolutely correct. All lives do matter. But I'm going to paint a vivid picture for you guys just so you can understand. And I had said this on my Instagram and social media, and it caught a lot of positive reactions. If you are in one neighborhood and you have one group of people, you have black people in one house, you have white people in another house, you have Latinos in another house, you have Asians in another house, you have all types of different cultures within each house in one neighborhood, and there is one that is consistently on fire. How can all lives matter if we don't all try to put the fire out? So you are absolutely right when you say all lives matter. They do, but all lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter. And I just want to say this, guys, the signs, the protests, it is absolutely overwhelming to see. And we are in a very historic time where we are making positive change. We are making very positive change. I also want to say this. I am a very big fan of good police officers. To all police officers out there that give their lives on a day-to-day basis, thank you very much. And we can go back to the rebel name. Perception is reality. Let them get their beeps off. Perception is reality. Coach Barry Greener stated, never did he want the Walpole Rebel name to symbolize racism. However, he stated that even if one person has an issue with that rebel name, it's time to change. We all have the ability to create a moment for our town. This is our town. Walpole is our town. I remember I'll give you a quick story also. I had my tryout for the WWE in 2017. And I almost regret this. They were asking me questions in an interview. It's on YouTube, you can watch it as well. And one of the questions were, where are you from? And the normal answer, usually a lot of people would just say Boston, Massachusetts. And I thought about that question long and hard because, to be honest, I wanted to say Walpole, Massachusetts. But in the back of my mind, I didn't want people to look up Walpole and see that there was any sign or any symbolism or any racism involved with the town. So I was just like, you know what, let me just say Boston. I'm from Boston, Stroud, Massachusetts. But I regret it because I do want to say I'm from Walpole, Massachusetts, because one day, when I do make it in the WWE and they ask me that question again, I want to say that I'm a kid who grew up in a small town called Walpole. Guys, thank you so much for coming out here. Thank you so much for giving us your time. It's overwhelming to see everybody here. I also want to say this, and I'll end it with this. A wise man once said, if tomorrow wasn't promised, what would you get for today? Thank you, Jessica. She knows I say that a lot. And the reason why I say that is because, honestly, from the way everybody's here with their signs and the support and the t-shirts and their love within these protests, it looks like you guys would give absolutely everything to change the world, and I want to say thank you. And again, I don't want to forget, please go right there, tinyurl.com/Walpole School Committee Form. If you could all just take a picture or go on your phones right now, voice your opinions, because they want to hear from you guys. They don't just want to make a decision based on what they see on social media. They want to see people. They want to see people's comments. They want to see you guys voice your opinions. So please, let's make sure we can voice our opinions. And on Thursday, let's hope that we can cheers to a new name. Thank you. And I also, if we could, would love to just take a moment of silence, and if we could all kneel for George Floyd, and if we could all kneel for injustices that happened for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I believe we have a timer, so if we could all just kneel for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.